Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing episode on Life with Mokes. I'm super excited to have you on here. Thank you so much for your love, for your support, for commenting, sharing, liking. For those of you that watch really 1 minute and end it, why? Please, what have I done to you to deserve it? Endeavor to watch the whole video. But honestly, I appreciate you. Even if it's 1 minute, two, three, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. So I came across a video of a husband and wife talking about how modern day feminism has taken a toll, like literally gone south. And I wanted to give my 2 cents on it. So if this is a video that you're interested, stay tuned for the tea. All right, so let's get right into it. So who will I consider a feminist? I pretty much think a feminist is somebody that believes in equal opportunities between men and women. This is a great cause that a lot of people have fought for because we cannot lie that women have seen shaggy. We don't see what? We don't see shaggy. Like, if you look at the past generation, especially how most of them were treated by men, how, because you're a woman, you're not able to advance in your career, you're not able to get, like even have a voice in society. Sometimes even for some people, it gets as bad as not having a voice in your home. So I do get that, women have been through a lot. However, I feel like our generation is taking it a bit, no, actually not a bit, like extremely far when it comes to feminism. One of the reasons why I left Twitter is because of the fact that everywhere on my timeline, I was always seeing, oh, I'm a feminist, I hate men. There was one time, I don't know I can't remember the handle or something, but like a popular feminist on Twitter, she was talking about how, I'm never going to get married. I hate the concept of marriage, and I'll never submit under a man. That the Bible basically is encourages abuse of a woman. Why would you say that the husband is the head? That means that they're not equal. And you know how they come up with this thread, and I was just like, oh my god, like, can we actually chill out? Like, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, if you read the Bible properly, you would know that God is not somebody that is against women or wants to put women under. So I want to answer the question, can a feminist submit to her husband? First of all, I'd like to put a disclaimer out there that I am a feminist with my full chest, yes. But feminism in the dictionary, meaning, which means that a woman and a man get equal opportunities in all facets of life. Meaning that any opportunity that's available to a man should also be to the same measure available to a woman. Now, that being said, let's answer the question from the scriptures. Now, the Bible talks about in Ephesians 5:22 to 23, I believe it says, wives, submit to your own husband, right? It doesn't say submit to every single guy that you see, or submit to your colleague at work, or submit to, some random guy. It says submit to your own husband. So basically, this means that God's design for a marriage is for the man to be the head and for the woman to be the support, so be the helper. So I'm going to use this analogy of a CEO in a company. He's usually the top, or like at the very top of the hierarchy, like the boss, right? However, no matter how powerful, how brilliant, how intelligent he is, if he doesn't have subordinates who are able to help him accomplish whatever goals he has, execute them, and just bring them to light, then it's a waste of time. So it's similar to husband and wife. Yes, the husband is the head. However, the wife is the support, meaning that if the wife is not there to support the vision that he has, he could literally fail in his role as a husband, if you know what I mean. So I said all that to say that God sees husband and wife as equal partners. However, he's given husband and wife different responsibilities, right? Just like in the body, how we have different parts, right? There are parts that are extremely functional in the body that you cannot see, but then when you look at the head, like literally like your human head, you're like, oh my god, this is the crux. However, there are other parts of the body that really matter, like your heart, your liver. Those things cannot be seen. It's almost the same as well, right? So it's a thing of perspective. Who put it in our hearts as women to believe that the fact that God has called us to support means that we are we're like, lesser human beings, or we are not as important, or we are not as valued. I think that's where the problem starts from. All right, I'm going to use myself as an example. So during marriage counseling, when we started, I know that I asked my counselor multiple times to explain to me the concept of submission, because I couldn't just wrap my mind around what it means to submit. Because to me, it just sounded like someone was going to be sending me on errands, telling me, go and cook for me. Where's my lunch? Where's my dinner? Open your legs, close it. Have you done this? Have you done that? So it almost felt like subjugation. I'm going to tell you what subjugation means. Subjugation basically means the action of bringing someone or something under domination or control. So this is what a lot of women hear when they hear submit to your husband. Submission, on the other hand, means to willingly deploy oneself in service to their partner. And my counselor showed me this scripture, right? I'd seen it before, but it just never clicked. Ephesians 5:21. It says, submit ye one to another. So this was Paul talking about husband and wife. And so basically he was saying that husbands should serve their wives and wives should serve their husband. So the perspective you have as a woman is extremely important, especially in this woke days where, like, liberation of women, fighting for the rights of women, which I am all in for, because yes, women have been put under, like I said, and we've seen shege in this life. So I'm all for that. However, there's also like a very thin line between that and completely going against God's intention for your marriage. If you're married, or for people who are intending to, right? Because I know that a lot of people have been through traumatic situations where they've seen maybe their moms, beaten, their moms like, not having a voice, their moms taking all sorts of just like rubbish, like, the man cheated on the woman, and okay, that's fine, because that's how men are. You cannot work as a woman because you have to take care of the kids. You have to put your career aside and you just have to focus on the children and taking care of the home, as a Proverbs 31 woman, of which that's Proverbs 31 woman. When we look at the things that she did, and so men will not quote it because she was a hard worker. She was someone that actually provided for her family. So that being said, it is very, very important that you don't let the traumatic experiences that have been passed down from generation to generation and now passed down to this our work generation, be a tool where the devil will use it against your marriage. Because we've heard this multiple times, that in a home, it's very important to respect your husband. Women want to be loved. Men want to be respected. As the head of the home, are you giving him a chance to actually lead? Are you giving him a chance to actually take decisions? And this is again something that I struggle with. God is still helping me, by the way. Because sometimes as a woman, you are so educated, you are so opinionated, you know so much, and you feel like, well, I should be able to make this decision. I don't care what you say because I know what's right and I'm going to do it. Whether you agree or not, I don't care. Like, to heaven with you. You know what I mean? So like, that's having that much power, having that much exposure as a woman, it takes like another level of self-control to put it under and say, Lord, I submit this under the authority of my husband. So what do I mean? So let's imagine in a situation where you have to make a decision, right? Let's say, you want to pick a color. Now, this is just like the randomest decision for the house. Okay, you prayed, or you want to buy a house, for instance, not pick color, you want to buy a house, right? And then you prayed about it as the woman, and then you feel like, maybe we should buy a house in this place. Maybe God revealed it to you, and you think because in a few years it's going to be booming, even if right now it doesn't look like much is going on in that community, or it's more like a rural area, and your husband is telling you, I think we should buy it in the booming place, and you're like, you know what, we can save this money and we can invest it in this small home that's rural, because you already know, you've done your research and you know for a fact that in a few years it's going to boom, it's going to make sense, I'm going to make a lot of money. But he's not getting it. At that point you're thinking, well, I've done my research, like I know my stuff, like, do you understand? I'm telling you what you're supposed to do and you're not responding to me. The next option for you at that moment will be to just be like, okay, yeah, to hell with you, I'm going to get my money, I'm going to go and buy my house. If you want to come and buy with me, fine. If not, I have my money, I have my job anyways, like, whatever. That's where submission comes in. Knowing that you have the ability to get it done by yourself, but you're choosing to believe that God will lead your husband to make the right decision. And that's why it's super important to marry or get married to somebody who fears God. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, by God's grace, you marry a man who listens to you, who consults you before making decisions. But if he ever gets to a point where, you're at crossroads, what God expects of us is to actually just let it go. Like literally, we're just like, okay, God, oh, go and do your night prayers and pray. Lord, let this man be led by you. Let him be led to make the right decision because he's the one holding our family together. But if you now go ahead and make the decision on your own without including your husband, you're going against God's will. I know some people might be like, oh yeah, that's not true, blah blah blah. That's the truth, my sister. That is exactly what the truth is. Because think about it. Let's even relate it to Christ. Bible talks about how Christ is our head. So basically, it means that whatever Christ tells us to do is what we do, regardless of whether it is palatable or not. Of course, there's context to this. I'm not saying if your husband says go and kill or no, because everything we do must be subject to the word and Christ comes first. But I'm just giving an example to let you know that when God tells us to do certain things, we do it because he's God, he's head, he's authority over us, right? The same way it is for a woman. The man has been placed over you. And the prayer is that you will be in sync, that, whatever decisions you make will be made together in sync. Whatever, agreements you do will be, after both of you have spoken and come to a place of agreement. However, please don't get deceived though by all the social media women that will be telling you, oh yeah, to hell with the man. I don't need a man. My dear, you are not of the world. The Bible says that you are in the world, but not of the world. It says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So even if the convenient thing to do is to follow the way of the world, which is to make your own decisions and do your own thing and not care about what your husband has to say as the head and somebody who God has placed over you, the right decision to make is to ensure that you follow, be a follower of your husband. Wherever you go, I go. Your God is my God. Your people is my people. But I think we get the gist now. So back to the question, because I know I've rambled a lot. Can a feminist submit to a man? Yes. A feminist should, in fact, submit to her husband, the person that she has married, because that is how Christ has ordained it. Now, this topic is so broad. There are many examples of, are you telling me that if a man does this, I should? Obviously I'm not going to be able to cover it, but on a general basis, assuming that you are dealing with a man that fears God and is led by God, you should be under his authority. So thank you so much for watching. If you stay till the end, I really appreciate you. Please let's comment down below. Please again, share, like, subscribe. Remember, I told you that I'm counting on you guys to push my video to 1 million views. Yes, it's gonna happen. I prophesy, I believe, I receive it in Jesus' name. See you on the next episode. Bye guys.